Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel, and in our top stories today from the Daily Mail, fury grows over FBI chief's unreal mistake during a bungled manhunt as his expletive-laden tirade at staff is revealed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you know here on the BuzWeaver channel, we take the difficult, we take the complicated, we take the tumult, we take the confusion, and we try to break it down because of the way the media often frames things and the way they sensationalize. But of course, there is growing concern even among fellow commentators as to how Kash Patel and Don Bongino are running the FBI. Now, this is a very complex department at the federal government because, unfortunately, crime happens every day, and serious crime happens every day, and a lot of what they do we don't even hear about. So with all that going on, and when things are this public and this in the mainstream, it can be extra challenging. And they're human beings, so they can make mistakes and they can do things. But, of course, I don't want to exhibit my total bias all the time. At times, I try to be as objective as I can, but I do have my particular leanings. And I do respect and like Kash Patel as well as Don Bongino. And I think they're in a very difficult situation under very difficult circumstances. So the backlash against FBI Director Kash Patel over the bungled search for Charlie Kirk's assassin has intensified. As it emerged, he went on an expletive-laden rant against his staff over the failures. Patel came under fresh fire after it emerged the suspect, Tyler Robinson, had finally been arrested for the alleged murder of Kirk, 31, after being turned in by his own family. And this is a point that Vince Dow had the other day. And he went on, he was very upset with how this was being handled. And, of course, he is not the only conservative out there questioning and wondering what's going on at the FBI, what's going on with Kash Patel, what's going on with Don Bongino. Remember, Don almost left. He almost decided to leave his assistant deputy position. So Robinson's arrest Thursday night came after a 33-hour manhunt in which two other men were wrongfully detained. Now, I don't know about the wrongfully part of that. They were detained. They just weren't the suspect or were part of it as far as I know. The mix-up led Patel to incorrectly announce that investigators had someone in custody on Wednesday before he was forced to walk back his statements. Now, I think that's a little exaggerated a bit here. They took people into custody. This does happen. Sometimes they do make arrests or they detain individual people because they're trying to gather and collect information. It later emerged that he had prioritized dining at a swanky New York City restaurant during the most vital hours of the manhunt. Now, of course, this has been another sticking point that people talk about. But, you know, the man's got to eat. While he was there, there could be half a dozen reasons why he was there. And, of course, these people have working, functioning dinners and lunches and breakfasts and all these sorts of things. So, you know, I'm just trying to keep it on the level here. Robinson, 22, was only arrested after his father reportedly recognized him in surveillance footage. Now, of course, there's all kinds of other information you guys already know because you've been watching it on social media of all that's been unfolding and how much the left has tried to make it out as though Robinson were a right-winger, and he's not. I'm not going to go into those particular details right now because we want to, focus on what I want to know what your guys' focus is or concerns about Kash or Don Bongino or the FBI. Let me know down in the comments section down there below. Fox News' Laura Ingraham branded the calamitous search unreal. The blunder led Patel to instigate a blistering conference call with over 200 FBI personnel Thursday morning, warning his agents that he would no longer tolerate any more Mickey Mouse operations, according to the New York Times. So, very heated, very frustrated, very angry over what was going on. They were trying to put all this together. I don't know how much level of expectations there are when it comes to these departments. Maybe he places too much expectation on himself. And these things can happen, when you're out there, you're putting yourself out there, you're dealing with these sorts of problems. You're the one who's supposed to be the solution, come up with the solutions, find these people, and take care of it. It is not an easy job. I can't even begin to imagine how, and the pressure of it all as well is absolutely extraordinary. Then, of course, it doesn't take very much for the left to also point a lot of these concerns out and focus. And so we have here from Kyle, and I'm just going to play a little bit of the video so you can see what they're saying from Sky News.
Mr. Patel, did you endanger public safety when you said the killer was in custody? Mr. Patel, did you misrepresent the investigation?
So that's the implication here is like, why did you put people in danger? And this is the Utah governor here next to him. And so the implication and the suggestion here is that somehow Kash Patel was putting people in danger because of detaining certain individuals. But that's very typical of the media to try to generate this type of exaggeration and sensationalizing. And but of course, you know, this continues on, like his conduct, his behavior, what was going on. And Patel, to me, seems like a kind of a bit of a perfectionist kind of person who's, you know, wants to try to be doing too much of too many things. And this is very indicative of what happened even with me when I worked for the state. You know, our particular lead attorney just kept saying we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. And we got so overwhelmed that it just wasn't possible for us to even do our job. We were completely just locked. I mean, there was just more than we could handle. And so I can understand, you know, a lot of where this is coming from. And then we have here from Brian Allen, FBI Director Kash Patel froze at last night's presser, making no statement or Q&A after already botching the Kirk suspect call. So, of course, they're going to just jump all over him. And, of course, we still have the whole deal with the Epstein list and these sorts of things. So a lot of this is going on. And, of course, we heard further in the article there in the Daily Mail, we saw that Donald Trump came out on Truth, and he posted this from Just the News. And I like Just the News. They're very good. Just the News does come out and do just the news. They report exactly what the information is as best as they have the information, and they outline it. So they're a great source. I often use them. I haven't used them that much lately. They're usually very ahead of the times, too, as far as, like, what's going on and their sources and their contacts. And I don't recall the name of the owner of Just the News or the CEO, but they're very, very good. And in this very lengthy article, they talk about all of what happened, how the investigation happened, how the FBI was, doing their jobs and that sort of thing. And it talks about other individuals that were being pursued by the FBI. But nonetheless, guys, let me know down in the comments section. Are you having concerns about the FBI now under Kash, and what your thoughts are on that, or if you want to mention anything about the Epstein list, or you want to add to or express your thoughts about Charlie Kirk, which is very sad. And yeah, it's impacted so many people, so many people's lives. I think Charlie was a perfect example of an individual who stood for what he believed in. He included everyone into his interactions, and that's very, very important, because this is that's kind of a side of that the left tries to perceive themselves of doing, and that is to, include everyone. But Charlie definitely set that example perfectly. But there are growing concerns among fellow commentators and conservatives and others over Patel, as well as even Don Bongino. But Don Bongino doesn't get in the mix that often. But let me know down in the comment sections what your growing concerns may be about that. But I want to thank all you guys for your continued support. That's BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, you guys on New Tech. And, of course, below this video, you can find the various social media links to those New Techs down there below, as well as to my affiliate marketing. You guys know how all that works. But, of course, your likes, your shares, and your comments help out the channel, and you guys have been amazing in 2025. So thank you so very much, as we've changed a lot of the format up of how we do things here on the channel. So I appreciate everyone's support. Appearing there on the screen, that's going to be the channel icon. You can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.